Hey everybody, and welcome back to Autism Awakening, the podcast that helps you help your child with autism. My name is Dr. Jared Skowron. I've been an international biomedical autism doctor for 21 years, and I host this podcast every week to help educate you guys on a medical part of autism, something that you can use to help your child improve, whether it's improve their language, improve their behavior, improve their sleep, improve their mental cognition and processing and focus. Either way, it's important to know that autism is a medical condition, and while therapies are great and can help, we need to make sure we're helping the inside of your child's body, the inside of their brain, not just training their outside. But the more we can do internally, the more we can help them recover their lost developmental skills, again, whether that be language or behaviors, you name it. So that's our goal here at Spectrum Awakening. Now, we record this podcast live on our Facebook page. We are going to be shifting it eventually to our Instagram page, but we record it currently live on our Facebook page every Thursday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I take my lunch break on Thursdays, pick a topic, walk through it with you guys, answer some live questions. So if you ever want to ask some live questions or be part of a live recording of the podcast, just get on either our Facebook or Instagram page, Thursdays, 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so what I wanted to do today was kind of go over a big summary of everything that we do medically to help our kids. And again, let me try to take everything and shove it into 30 minutes, right? So what I wanted to review all that just to give you guys a big picture of everything that's out there that we can do, okay? So it's also, I wanted to make sure I wished everybody a happy World Autism Awareness Day, which of course was yesterday, April 2nd. And for those of you who are new to Spectrum Awakening, we always make sure we give a coupon during every podcast for the weekend. But this week and Black Friday are the 2 times a year that Spectrum Awakening offers their biggest sale, 25% off. So if there's ever a time that you wanted to try something or stock up on stuff you already use, or get a lab test, now's the time. Okay. And again, because that's when Spectrum Awakening has this biannual sale, World Autism Week and Black Friday week. Okay. So let's kind of talk, again, we're talking generalities here about autism and how we can help. Now, from a medical standpoint, and during my telemedicine appointments with my families, we always talk first about lab testing. We talk about medical testing because that's a great way for us to understand inside and internally what's going on with your child. Now, trust me, after doing this for 21 years, everybody's a little bit different. Some people have some issues with how the brain is functioning. Some people have issues in the gut. Some people have toxins. Some people have mitochondrial issues. Some people have hormonal irregularities. Some people have genetic mutations and irregularities. So there's a lot to look at. And I think this is what's making treating autism a struggle for a lot of docs and scientists out there, is that there is no one clear path yet. And there's multiple factors. So it doesn't fit into conventional medicines. Here's your problem, here's your drug. Here's your problem, here's your script. Here's the symptom, here's the Band-Aid, right? So autism doesn't fit that way. And so I think conventional medicine is really struggling on what to do besides just telling you, go to therapy, right? But when we work with every child individually, and when we look at them individually, we really get the best understanding of what's going on, why it's going on, and how we can help, which is most important. So let me walk you through different tests. I got a couple papers here to just kind of show you stuff. When we look at testing, and again, you can get testing through your physician, right? You can also get testing on our website. Now, the tests that we offer, I would say the most popular test, there's going to be 3. Okay, number 1 is called an organic acid test. Now, it's known as an oat test. Very, very popular. And I've got some printout here of examples of what you're going to get. An organic acid test is the most common test out there for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's a urine test, so it's a lot easier to collect than a blood test, okay? And number 2, it shows a lot of different things. It's like a nice shotgun approach to analyzing stuff medically. It doesn't do everything, but it does a lot. What does it do? Number one, it looks for gut infections. So as an example, here's, we offer a few different organic acid tests, and I know this is backwards. Facebook no longer allows the flip, so you can see this the correct way, but you get the idea. This is an organic acid test, and this looks at infections in the gut that are bacterial or fungal, like yeast or mold or candida. It doesn't look for parasites, okay? It doesn't look for viruses, but it's a good screen, okay? Next, it'll also look for mitochondrial issues. That's what an organic acid test, that's kind of its major function. It also looks at some brain chemistry. It also looks at some amino acid metabolites and some nutritional deficiencies. So an organic acid test, easy because it's urine or easier, and very broad in what it looks at. Okay, I would say the next popular test is a stool test. And the stool test is very popular because so many of our kids get infections in the gut. All right, yeast infections, candida, mold, bacteria, parasites, worms. I've seen it all, okay? So those infections can cause a lot of behavior problems. So if your child, if one of your big issues is, man, their behaviors, they're aggressive, they're violent, they're bouncing off the walls, okay? If behavior is a big issue for you, then I want you to get a stool test, okay? Or just treat a gut infection. So again, as an example with different stool tests where, sorry, finding the right papers. For instance, they're going to look for a bunch of infections. And here's an example. This is the page where the stool test looks for different parasites and different worms. You're never going to get this intense level of thoroughness and comprehensiveness in an over-the-counter stool test. Like you go to Quest, you go to LabCorp, you go to a hospital. They're not going to look for as many things. They look for some, and insurance normally covers, but guess what? You get what you pay for. So that's another issue. All right. Next test I think that's most popular, and I think it's because I talk about it a lot and I recommend it to my patients, is genetic testing. Okay? And when I say genetic testing, I mean conventional, comprehensive genetic testing. Now, what does that mean? First off, if you're really interested in genetic testing, make sure you download our free ebook. Okay, we've got a few free ebooks to kind of walk you through some stuff. One of them is about genetic testing, and there's a lot of misconceptions about genetic testing, both with non-health professionals and with geneticists and doctors. Okay, there's a lot of things that we used to believe from 20 years ago that's totally been changed with the DNA code and understanding all of our genetics. So it's much more advanced than it was, again, 20 years ago. So I don't have a printout of that, but our genetic testing, which is a combination of a microarray and a whole exome sequence, that's the conventional stuff a geneticist is going to look for, okay? That's really important for about a third of our kids. So we do have genetic podcasts, so if you are interested, I would go back and listen, download the free ebook and take a look. But genetic testing, again, you can get through your doctor and get it covered if they order the right things, and it's explained in the ebook. But if you don't want to bother, or I just got a message from a patient who said, hey, I booked my genetic appointment in August. Can I get this done earlier? Yeah, of course you can. We got it through our website, right? Now, our website does not take insurance, okay? So it's going to be cash, but you get it done fast. Okay, a couple other tests that we have is, number one, the food IgG test. This is a food sensitivity analysis, and this is something a lot of parents are interested in. Now, make sure you understand there's a difference between food allergies and food sensitivities. It's a different immune system reaction. So if you're worried about food sensitivities, we've got that test, okay? Another test that we have is glyphosate. Now, glyphosate is, of course, Roundup. It's one of the most common pesticides and extremely damaging to our body. And you can measure glyphosate levels, okay, in the urine. All the tests that we have on our website, there's no blood tests. It's either urine, it's either poop, a cheek swab to get some saliva, maybe a spit test for saliva, possibly a finger stick where you take a needle and you get a little bit of blood and you put it on a piece of paper. That's something you can do at home. You don't need to go to a lab and have blood drawn, okay? Another test that we offer, heavy metals. A lot of people concerned about heavy metals and toxicity. So we have a heavy metal test, which is hair, very common, okay? So you can get that done through the hair, pretty easy to do. I'll give you a side note comment, a little insider secret, okay? These heavy metal tests have mineral levels on them. I would not trust the mineral analysis from hair testing. Okay, I do not feel it assesses body levels accurately. Okay, the heavy metals, yeah, if they're in the hair, they have to be in the body, right? Unless you got a lot of air pollution and your water's toxic and it gets in your hair. So that's another one as well. Last but not least, I know this has become very popular over the past 5+ years, is mold. Okay, mold is a fungus, just like yeast, just like candida, and it's alive and it infects things. I mean, take a look at any berries how many strawberries, raspberries I just bought, they were fine at the market and I bring them home and now they're covered with white. Okay, mold's everywhere and it can grow in your child's gut. So you can do a urine test to analyze for these things. All right, so here's the mold urine test. It's called Mycotox, and that's a really popular test as well. So there's a lot of testing that you can do. And again, you can get that testing through your doctor. You can get that testing through our website. But when you get the test done through our website, not only are you going to get your lab results, but I personally look at every single lab result, write up an interpretation, and send you a written interpretation, just like the same information I would tell my patients. Okay? So I'm going to tell you, hey, this is what's on the lab, and I would think about doing X, Y, Z. All right? So that's what you can get through lab tests through our office, through Spectrum Awakening, right? And again, the kind of the downside of getting it through your doctor is they may not know how to interpret it, all right? Now, we do, we have appointments, we get labs from other, that you've had done before, and we'll walk you through that stuff. But that's, again, that's kind of the ups and downs of it. All right, so now that you've gotten your testing done, okay? And again, now's the opportunity if you ever wanted to do some kind of test through our website. Since we've got this Autism Awareness sale, now's the time to do it. Also, side note, because we're going to start talking about supplements now. All the supplements on our website have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you get it, your child doesn't like the flavor of it, it doesn't have the outcomes or responses you want, send it back. Okay? Spectrum Awakening would rather you send something back and try something new than not try anything at all, because there's too many things that work. All right, so I wanted to kind of go over all of our supplements, and we've got a lot. I mean, I haven't done a count recently, but I want to say we're up to like 80 different supplements that I use for my patients that we've developed for kids on the spectrum or kids with developmental delays, right? So I kind of wanted to go over our popular ones, which I think are popular because they're the most effective, and some of our other less popular ones, which might be something you've been looking for, are interested in, etc. Okay. Live shout out to Emmanuel. He's over in the Philippines. Emmanuel, I hope you're doing well. We've made Emmanuel kind of busy lately with the sale. Anyway, when I broke this down into categories, okay, and the first category I want to talk about is behavior. All right. If your child has behaviors you don't like, now this can be aggression, they can be injuring themselves, they can be injuring you, they're screaming, they're hyper, they're not sleeping, all right? These behaviors are so often caused by gut infections. Now I talk about this all the time, so if you've been listening, I'm sure you know it. So if your child has a behavior that is kind of above and beyond, you can do two things. Number one, you can get a stool test, and then we'll figure out what's there and create a treatment plan, or you can just treat it, right? And I would highly recommend our yeast mold bundle, okay? It's got a binder, it's got enzymes to dissolve biofilm, it's got natural antimicrobials, and it's a great combo of things to kill off those gut infections. Now, we have some other supplements, which most of our supplements, they're either powders or they're capsules, and you can open the capsule and mix the powder into food or drink and take it that way. Some of our products need to stay in the pills because the taste is just absolutely too much for most kids. But we have some antimicrobial supplements like Biocillin and Paraslayer. What's another one we use? I think those are the two bigger ones. They're great herbal combos to kill off infections, but the taste is so bad, you can't open them, okay? Or you could, and it wouldn't work, all right? So start there. Now, a couple other things sorry, I'm looking at my desk with all my supplements. A couple other supplements that are pretty common when it comes to behaviors are, number one, our temper tamer. Now, I love our temper tamer. It's an herbal product for adrenal and cortisol. It's great for kids with quick triggers and quick fuses. So if you feel like you're walking on eggshells, think about the temper tamer supplement. It works on adrenal stress hormones like cortisol. All right. We also have something called Sanity Saver, which is a glandular product for cortisol and the quick triggers, which is great. And I just saw it yesterday. We've got this herbal supplement. It's not as popular as it could be, but it's called Spectrum Tranquility. And it's an herbal product very similar to a high concentration of like a relaxing tea. Okay. So you've got things like, and I can't read this without my cheaters. You got things like passion flower and valerian and chamomile and skullcap, these are all great at calming and relaxing the nervous system. Okay. So that's something that we have. And of course, our number 2 best-selling supplement, Calm & Cool. Calm & Cool is a really sweet-tasting powder that helps relax the nervous system. And again, it's more for when your child's hyper, not angry and aggressive, okay? That anger and aggression is normally the gut infection. So with the behaviors, you're either going to be going with the gut infections or your child's just hyper and we want to chill them out a little bit, with things like the Spectrum Tranquility or the Calm & Cool. And if you're walking on eggshells, the Temper Tamer. All right. Next, where should I go? I'm going to go to speech. All right. Most all of my patients want language. Now, how do you get more language in kids? I do it most of the time with supplements that help the brain. Okay. And so these are things that are going to alter brain chemistry like serotonin, neurotransmitters like dopamine and adrenaline and GABA. Okay. These are all made out of the foods we eat. So we know which vitamins, which proteins, which minerals are used by the brain to make these things. So when you give them, then you're going to have better brain function. That's not just language, it's behavior, it's sleep, it's sensory, it's motor, because you've got those neurochemicals, neurotransmitters that we should have, but they just aren't as much in our kids on the spectrum. So things like our Skowron solution, which is for supplements, our super serotonin, our anger management, our folinic acid, our attention on the double, things like power and focus is great as well. That's the first supplement we ever came out with and our best seller. And I also want to mention, we now have a high dose folinic acid. Now we've sent a bunch of emails and social media about this and we had a podcast about this, but we're trying to keep it in stock for you guys. It's extremely popular. We still have a little bit left right now for the weekend. I don't think it's going to last the weekend, but if you've heard of leucovorin or you're interested in leucovorin is the pharmaceutical form of the vitamin folinic acid. Okay. So we have been able to manufacture it at the same doses. It's basically generic leucovorin. So if you haven't heard of the leucovorin, don't worry about it. You want folinic acid. So we have this high dose where you can go up to the levels that they're using in scientific research. And extremely popular. And if you haven't read the article in the Daily Mail is a British newspaper or publication, and they did a story a couple months ago in February about research on folinic acid. Again, remember, that's the generic of leucovorin, on how that helps kids' language and other autism symptoms. So it's pretty cool and becoming really, really popular really fast. So we got a little bit left if you want it. All right. So that effective brain chemistry normally helps language. All right. What else do we have? Well, somebody brought up, and I'll add on, detox. Okay. It's a toxic world. Okay. We all have toxins. We've got, our kids have toxins. We have toxins. They're everywhere. It's plastics, it's pesticides, it's heavy metals. I mean, you name it, it's out there. Okay. And we want to get rid of it because they can affect the brain. So we launched a new product called Detox Dynamite, which is a combination of a lot of great binders. We have alpha lipoic acid, which is amazing at detox and repairing the brain. We've got glutathione as a cream. We have NAC. We have fulvic acid, which is really popular as well. So a lot of great detox supplements. Again, I'm just going through my notes here in categories. We talked about gut support, like our yeast mold bundle. We also have probiotics. We have a great probiotic called our Gut Reset. We have Saccharomyces boulardii. We have prebiotics. We've got stuff for constipation. Okay. One of the best things, I saw a comment go by, and I'll make sure I read it. One of the best things for constipation we have is called Brown Log Train. Okay. Brown Log Train, phenomenal combination of magnesium and electrolytes to get you pooping. Okay. A lot of people love that stuff. Mitochondria. Mitochondria produce energy for every cell in the body and are often underfunctioning with our kids. So supplements like carnitine and CoQ10 are really popular. We've got a combination product called Mitomax that has I forget how many, but a lot, over 10 different nutrients that the mitochondria use and need. Okay. So mitochondria is great, or mitochondrial supplements are great when you've got low muscle tone, you have fine motor skill issues, really chronic constipation. Mitochondrial support is great for that. So try our MitoMax or Mito ATP. Adriana just said Brown Log Train is the best. It's life-saying with hearts and smiles and hearts. Adriana, glad it's working for you. That's why we want it. Okay. Next, we do have high quality foundational things. Okay. So we've got stuff that I call foundational. They're not specific for brain chemistry or specific for the gut or specific for hormones. They're general things. I would say the number one thing, do I have it here? No, it's downstairs. The number one thing that we just launched last October is our new multivitamin. It's called Multispectrum Complete. I waited 10 years to formulate a multi, okay? And I finally decided I want to make the best multi with the exact nutrients in the exact forms that our kids do well with, the ones that are scientifically researched. Vitamins, minerals, cofactors. We've got over 30 ingredients in this multi that you're not going to find elsewhere. Okay, you're not going to find folinic acid, adenosylcobalamin, carnitine, the things that our kids need. Okay, so our multi is a great place to start if you're just using an over-the-counter multi. It's a powder, tastes decent, definitely try it. We also have vegan protein shakes, chocolate and vanilla. We've got vitamin C, we have vitamin D, we have magnesium, we have fish oils, the foundational things that, you think about with supplements. Okay, next, sorry, I've lost my papers. We did speech, we did mitochondria, sleep. Let's talk about sleep, everybody. Okay. A lot of our kids have problems with sleep. Now, you may be giving something like melatonin, okay? And melatonin is good to get you to fall asleep, but only usually lasts about 4 hours, and then you wake up again. So if you give your kid melatonin, they're asleep at 9, and they wake up at 1, classic pattern of melatonin rebound. So you can do 2 things. Number 1, I really like our super serotonin supplement. It helps with sleep. It helps with language. It helps with mood. It helps with a lot of things. I've heard a lot of my patients say, hey, I know you told me to take that serotonin stuff, but my kid sleeps fine, so I didn't use it. And please understand, serotonin does so much in the brain, not just for sleep, but for mood and for language. All right. So that's kind of my go-to, but it doesn't always work. When it doesn't always work, it's because of gut problems. So a lot of our kids who don't sleep is because of gut infections, and using something like the yeast mold bundle, getting a stool test, treating gut infections can be huge for sleep because we fix the cause. Okay. And I would say last but not least, another thing to look at is we have a handful of gummies and a handful of creams. So for kids who just don't want to take anything, they're super picky eaters, right? You may want a cream. For kids who really like gummies, you may want a gummy. And again, I'm not hugely fond of gummies because they're more sugar than anything else, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. All right. And for kids who don't want to take stuff, you're giving them too much orally, the creams are great. So what do we have for creams? Let me make sure I have what I have here. We have a glutathione cream. Glutathione is really sulfury, hard to take orally. So we've got a cream. We have, for those of you who have investigated MTHFR and methylfolate, we have a methylfolate cream. Okay. MTHFR cream is a methylfolate cream, and it's got other stuff like B12, etc., and it won't have the gut issues that you may have. We have something called a sleep cream. I don't seem to have it here. Sleep cream is melatonin and 5-HTP and tryptophan and magnesium, and it's a great topical way to get your kids to sleep. Only downside to it is when you're rubbing it on your child with your hand, a little bit gets into you, and you may want to go to sleep soon as well. Or, get a glove or something and just rub it on your child. Nice little massage, little sleep cream, send them to bed is okay. I think what's the other cream we have? Oh, we have something called calming cream. Calming cream is a magnesium cream. So it's really good to help you relax when magnesium helps your nervous system relax. That being said, the calming cream with the magnesium will not affect poop. If you're using magnesium to help with constipation, you have to take it orally. Creams are not going to work. All right. And then again, like I mentioned, gummies, we've got elderberry gummies, we've got vitamin D gummies, we've got vitamin C gummies. Again, I'm not a huge fan of gummies because it's more sugar than substance, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and look, it's all about baby steps. So that's kind of an overall review of everything we have through Spectrum Awakening. And again, for those of you who are new to us, I developed Spectrum Awakening halfway through my practice. So I started my practice 21 years ago. I see kids with autism. That's my niche, and that's what I do. And then about 10 years ago, we started Spectrum Awakening because we were using supplements for our patients. But we had to use what was out there. And I didn't like all the stuff that was out there, and I wanted things that were better. And so I said, hey, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So we created Spectrum Awakening. We started formulating. Our first year, we had three vitamins: Power and Focus, Calm and Cool, and something we don't even carry anymore called Trehalose. And so we made those three, and that's where we started. And again, the goal was getting high quality supplements that I'm using for my patients, okay, in the forms that I want, the doses that I want, hopefully as a powder, so it's easy for these kids to take, because most of our kids don't swallow capsules. Decent tasting, gluten-free, dairy-free, okay, when we can, soy-free, when we can, non-GMO. So I wanted to make the best stuff for my patients. Then we decided, hey, let's offer this to the world, because the world needs it, and our kids need it, and you guys need it. You need the guidance and the help on how to help your child, besides, hey, why don't you just go to therapy? Or looking on Dr. Google and trying, hey, I saw an ad and a one-hit wonder, and I wonder what that'll do, okay? I know you guys are trying to help your kids, and that's what Spectrum Awakening is all about. It's about walking you through understanding what it is, autism is medically, what we can do medically with lab testing, what we can do with natural substances to help your kids. So I think what's most important, and this is the message I would love for you to share with your family, with your friends, with people in therapy. There is hope for our kids, okay? I have patients who have recovered from autism, okay? Lost their diagnosis, went from nonverbal special ed to fully verbal, mainstream school, got their driver's licenses, going to prom, participating in sports, being what they should be, being a kid and living up to everything they can. And most importantly, they are going to be independent. I have full faith that these are actually twin boys, that these twin boys are going to go out, go to college, get jobs, marry if they want, have kids if they want, and they're going to be able to take care of themselves. And that's the burning worry of every single parent, whether you've got a kid on the spectrum or not. Hey, Jeremy just called me, BS and a liar. Jeremy, I understand your doubt. Make sure you read. I'm going to be having my book out hopefully next year. We've got stories from my patients and stories that they wanted to share. So I understand the doubt, and it doesn't happen with all my patients, but it can happen. And when it does, it's great. So, hey, I get that pushback from medical doctors too. I'm like, look, until you've seen it, I get the doubt. So let's get into our live questions. And before we do live questions, the coupon of the weekend, of course, I printed it out. Where did I put it? Is Autism 25. Where did I put my coupon? Anyway, Autism 25. It's the 25% coupon for Autism Awareness Week and Weekend. So, like I mentioned, if you want anything lab test supplements, there it is. Now's the time to do it. Okay. And again, if you've got doubt, I understand. I get it. That's okay. That's the reason Spectrum Awakening offers 30-day return policies. Okay? Because if you try and it doesn't work, your kid doesn't like the flavor, you send it back for a return. We want to eliminate any concern or hurdle you guys have to try to help your kids. All right. Like I said, Autism 25, this is backwards, I know. Autism 25 is your coupon of the weekend, 25% off. That expires April 6th, guys. And if you want an appointment with me, telemedicine, then make sure you book a telemedicine appointment. All right. All right. So let's get to the live questions. And here we go. Live shout out to Rodney. Rodney's always watching. How you doing, man? Sheila from Texas. So excited for your upcoming appointment with you in May. Me too, Sheila. Adriana, we started the superfolinic acid, and I assume the high dose that we just launched. He makes more sounds. For how long should we give it to help him with speech? Until you plateau. okay? Until you get to the point where like, hey, he's not learning anymore. And that's 10 more words, 100 more words, full conversation. I don't know. But keep giving it until you see a plateau. All right, I'm going to need my... Meredith, how often should we detox? Until toxins are gone. You know, I mean, that question, let me rephrase that question. How much poison should I leave in my body? Till it's gone. And Adriana sent Facebook stars. Thank you, Adriana. Facebook stars are a way to donate money to a live Facebook Live speaker. We take 100% of our Facebook Live donations, star funds, and give them to autism support groups, TACA and Autism Hope Alliance. So your donation is going to a good place. Tatiana, my daughter's taking NAC. She's 3. Can she take Folinic and NAC together? Yeah, completely. Selma, hey Selma. Kelly, reading about colloidal silver made me second guessing it. Can you talk about its safety? Yeah, Kelly, I'm happy to, and we get that question a lot. When you look at the vitamin industry, quality matters, okay? Now, some things can be good quality or moderate quality and pretty much be the same. You know, you go get some vitamin C, you go get some vitamin D, it's all going to be pretty similar what's out there, okay? Whether you're at Costco or you get a high-end brand, pretty typical stuff, okay? There are things that you want to make sure you get the good stuff, okay? Things like fish oils, okay, and omegas. You don't want a cheap company that doesn't extract out the heavy metals like mercury that are in these deep sea fish, okay? So with something like omegas, fish oil, you want a good high-quality company because there are extreme downsides to poor quality, all right? And same thing with colloidal silver, okay? And there are warnings about colloidal silver, and you've heard the stories. I took colloidal silver and I turned blue. Yeah, with the cheap stuff. You better believe it. We make sure we get the highest quality, okay, the smallest nanoparticles. That's really what makes it high quality or not. And we've been using it for a couple years with our patients at least, and a lot of them find it extremely beneficial. I have not heard one concern about our colloidal silver with any of my patients. So be on the lookout for it though. You want good quality, not poor quality with that stuff. Rita, hey doc, we have Viragon alpha-fluoric acid in the Skowron solution. Can I start these all at the same time? You can, but we normally don't recommend that. We normally recommend introducing something 1 a week, maybe 2 a week. So if your child does have a side effect and doesn't respond to something, you know which one it is. And you can say, oh, that one's not good. Let's take that out. And look, different people will respond differently to these things. We're all different. So that's why we recommend, 1 at a time, watch. If things are good, keep it. If things aren't, let's take that out. Rita, sorry, I just did that. Tatiana, what do you think of Suramin? None of my patients who have done it have seen any benefits. I don't have a lot of patients who have done it, but some. Adriana, I need to order a stool test because we fixed the constipation with brown log train, but his temper is still intense. We need to check his gut. Yeah, I would do that, Adriana. Yeah, get the stool test. Mariana, what spectrum weakening supplement is to take to stop the verbal stimming? I would try 2 things, Mariana. I find verbal stimming, it's like a car trying to start. Okay, this is me ramping up the old cars. Remember back in this is older than me. This is you'd ramp up that car to start it, and that's what I feel like a verbal stim is. If it's a stuttering, it's like it's trying to get going. Okay, I find natural stimulants can help with that. So our temper tamer can work. Our attention on the double can work. So I would look at those things. Adriana, your products are amazing. The brown logs saved my son. I'm so glad, Adriana. We want this stuff to work. Sandra, my 5-year-old has autism and ADHD. Aggressive to himself and others. Okay, stop. When you say those words, aggressive, stop, gut infection. Until you prove otherwise, gut infection. He's on risperidone, and his aggressions are still 25%. I hate risperidone. I hate it, okay? Because it is an antipsychotic, and it is given to kids who are violent so that they don't hurt themselves or others. I love that we don't want anybody to get hurt, okay? But it is a pharmaceutical straitjacket that does not help the child in any way, and I find it actually is negative because it basically turns them into a zombie. And if you want to add 50 pounds real quick, try some risperidone, okay? So it's good in the moment to stop the mania, and to stop people getting hurt, but in no way is it going to treat the cause. You stop the risperidone, they're going to go right back to where they were, probably rebound higher, okay? Because of what happens with dopamine receptors, which we don't need to get into. So I don't like it. I don't like it. But if you have an aggressive child, gut infection, gut infection, gut infection. I cannot emphasize that enough. You had said to give them a yeast supplement, but you have a couple. Which one do you recommend? Get the yeast mold bundle, Sandra. It's the 3-pack. Selma, can detox dynamite trigger some aggression? Yes. Yes. So lower the dose and make sure he's pooping. All right, Lee, I wish Dr. Skowron, if you can educate us about methylation. Yeah, Lee, let me have a whole podcast on that. We can do a methylation podcast for sure. Yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Adriana, my son yells because he cannot talk, but he yells a lot. Adriana, what did we just talk about? The gut? Yeah, go with that. No, that was Sandra. Sorry. So he's yelling a lot, and I want to differentiate the yelling. Is the yelling, "Hey, you guys," right? Is it wait, who did "Hey, you guys"? Why can't I remember that? Anyway, is he just yelling to yell? Hey, this is fun. I want to hear myself. Or is he yelling in pain? If he's yelling in pain, we have to find the pain. If he's just yelling, we just got to get that brain to turn it into words. Make sure you're trying our serotonin and our folinic acid. Mirica, my daughter, blood tests show high dopamine and high cortisol. Okay, that is one hyper, sleepless, bouncing off the wall kid, I bet. Okay, and with real quick triggers and big explosions. So to lower the dopamine, I formulated a supplement called Anger Management. Anger Management helps lower dopamine and adrenaline levels naturally, all right? Cortisol, I want you to use, if you have high cortisol, which is rare, it happens, but it's rare. Most of our kids have low cortisol. If you have high cortisol, I want you to try Temper Tamer 2. That'll help normalize your cortisol. Lena, my son laughs without a reason. Often gut infections. Again, yeast mold bundle or the stool test. Lee, my child's a picky eater and he hates supplements. What's the best way? Yeah, it's tough. Sure is tough. So step 1, see what we can get in creams. See what we can get topical, okay? Step 2, we try things that are as tasteless as possible, and you hide them in any food or drink you can. Some of my patients will go to the levels of putting supplements in juice, putting it in a syringe, shoot it in the mouth, give a prize, ring a bell, Pavlov. Others will make Jell-O shots in ice cube trays and dose out the vitamins, or juice popsicles and dose out the vitamins in an ice cube tray. So any inventive way you have, go for it. But with the picky mouth, it's hard unless you're using creams. Lee, that was Lee. All right. Lindsay sharing. Thank you, Lindsay. Janelle, good morning. My son just turned 3, been on your supplements and love them. He stopped grinding his teeth for a while. Now he's grinding during the day. Okay, stop. Teeth grinding during the day is parasites until you rule out otherwise. Okay, so consider a stool test. I bought your superfolinic acid, but stopped because he started to have behavior problems. So folinic acid, as shown in the research, about 10% of kids can get hyperactive, have behavior issues, okay? Use a lower dose and add the anger management supplement. I designed anger management for kids who have B vitamin, hyperactivity, behavior side effects, okay? And lower the dose. So don't get Temper Tamer or serotonin. You're going to go with anger management. Lee, why are these tests not approved by the FDA? And why are they not refundable by most insurances? So Lee, number 1, there's a lot of tests not approved by the FDA. In fact, you can go, I order lots of tests through Quest, through LabCorp, through a hospital that are not approved by the FDA. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what FDA approval of lab tests even mean. So I'm not sure. And why does New York State not allow so many tests, even through regular labs like Quest and LabCorp? I don't know. It's a great question. I can't even fathom an idea because I don't even know the process to create an answer. And why are these not refundable by most insurances? That it is, ask your insurance company. I know the answer for most insurance company questions, which is more profit. But it also depends on the lab. Like the lab may choose not to bill insurance. The lab, your insurance may say, yeah, we'll pay for that test. But if the lab doesn't accept insurance, because they don't want to deal with the processing of it, then that's up to them per company, right? But some of these tests are covered by insurance with local typical labs. Like I'll get organic acid testing through Quest, urine test, insurance, okay? So I think it's a combo of, what's the insurance company going to pay for? That depends on your plan, versus does the lab itself accept insurance. Cancy, I got a genetic test. I got results. I just ordered the superflinic acid, lower dose to start our granddaughter. She's 3. Awesome, Cancy. Can't wait to hear what happens. Lee, how do you get rid of glyphosate? Well, I think it's pretty simple. Stop eating it and then add a binder, okay? Like our gut binder, sweet tasting, detox dynamite. I think it's going to come out decently fast. In fact, it's interesting. There was a doctor, unfortunately he passed away a bit ago, that his life he was one of the original old-timey natural doctors, and he focused his life on toxins and detoxification. And I remember he was doing some research, some testing and stuff with some patients, and he found the highest level of toxins in most adults was from cosmetics. And when they stopped their cosmetics for a week, makeup, deodorant, all that, hairspray, all that kind of stuff, hair dye, within a week, it was out of their system. Their body had cleared it all. And he showed this information to them, and they're like, I'm toxic when I use these things, and I'm not toxic when I don't. Well, I still want to be pretty, and everybody went back on their cosmetics. What is the point of that story? I don't know. But I guess saying that I think glyphosate's going to clear out with a good binder like our detox dynamite and avoiding it. All right, Gloria, can you please say how much the test costs, like an approximate? They're all different. I'm going to go with like $500 each-ish. Then you got the 25% discount off of that, so like $400 or whatever. That's a ballpark, except for the genetics, which are more like $1,000. But let me say this. If you pay cash for genetic testing at Quest, $5,000. With us, $1,000. All right. What else we got here? Sue, where would you start for speech with someone who cannot swallow capsules? Can open them and add. I would do either the Power and Focus, our #1 bestseller, or our Skowron solution. Anything to do for demyelination? Yes, fish oil, Sue, omegas. So if you're concerned with demyelination, losing the myelin of your nerves, fish oil, omegas. Do it. All right, Brianna, have you read much about the Cytotron machine? No, I have not heard of it at all, but now I want to watch the movie Luca's World. Sandra, I bought superflinic acid and clumps up. Yes, it has clumped up, and we really looked into that and we fixed it. We figured it out. So no more clumping. If you have a flinic acid bottle and it's clumped, the powder just clumps, it's totally fine. It's 2 of the ingredients kind of glue together and create this clumpiness. So it's perfectly fine. If you can separate it and chunk it out, no worries. But if you want a replacement, contact us, email us, we'll get you one. But we figured it out finally. Gloria, are these supplements powder-based? Many are. Lauren, I want to do the O test. What supplements do I need to avoid before testing? Lauren, that's a great question. I get that from a lot of patients. You can do either. And you just want to make sure you're interpreting the results based on knowing if you're taking something or not. So I tell a lot of my patients, if you're taking things, you can do the test and see what else you need to add on. Or you can just stop, give it a week, let everything flush out, and then do the test and say, hey, here's really what I need. Up to you. All right. Lee, how do SSRI medications affect the brain? Love that question, Lee. All right. Serotonin medications, antidepressants such as Prozac or Lexapro. What they do is they keep serotonin in the brain. Okay, serotonin makes us happy. I just did some Qigong. This is the lotus flower move. So lose my train of thought. Yay, ADD. The Prozac, Lexapro, SSRIs, those kind of psych meds are under the understanding that serotonin can make us happier, make us calmer, make us more relaxed. Okay. Our body takes our food and makes serotonin. The drugs keep it in the brain. Let's keep that serotonin in there because once the body makes it and uses it, we pee it out. That's how we can test for serotonin in the urine, right? So the body makes it, pees it out, makes it, pees it out, makes it, pees it out. The drug keeps it in there. Okay, like let's keep the serotonin in there. some people need to up the dose, up the dose, up the dose, up the dose. Because if you're not making something, what are you holding on to? Okay? And so for people where the antidepressants are ineffective or they keep going up on dose, using something natural, like our super serotonin support, will make the brain make more serotonin. So we get the same outcome, which is more serotonin. Now, it is not recommended you do these together. So if you're on an antidepressant, I would not take our super serotonin supplement. I would not take anything with 5-HTP or tryptophan. Okay? But that's kind of what happens. Brianna talks about Suramin. I said I don't have any patients who have found benefits, but I think it's an anti-parasite. Medina, hey doc, what supplement would you recommend for a child who has slow COMT and an MTHFR 1298C? I would use a lot of anger management. And even with the COMT and the MAOA, use that anger management and then add the flinic acid. Lauren, high dose flinic acid to help my son so much with communication. It's amazing, Lauren. I'm super happy. That's what we want. Megan, how do we as parents know when the high dose flinic acid has reached the right dose? Plateau of improvements. Okay? So, hey, 10 milligrams, my child does this. 50 milligrams, he does the same thing. Let's stick with the 10 milligrams. Roz, what's the best way to measure the dosage? If you have an 1/8 teaspoon measuring device. Adriana, brown log train, it's the best. Sandra, what are the biggest differences between yeast mold biofilm, yeast mold GFSC, and do you take a binder with these? All right, Sandra, so we have something called the yeast mold bundle. It combines a biofilm enzyme that destroys the biofilm. That's a protective layer, that separates the infection from our immune system. We have a binder to grab the dead stuff and escort it out. And we have different antimicrobials. We have colloidal silver, we have grapefruit seed extract. If you get the bundle, you can choose one or the other, the colloidal silver or the grapefruit seed extract, but the bundle comes with the biofilm enzyme and the binder. And so you can use one or another. You can get them individually as well, but I would always use a binder. Always, always, always. All right, Judy, my daughter had norovirus and symptoms kept coming and going for a month. 2 weeks later, she's now breaking out in hives when exposed to the cold. I think the virus messed with her gut. Judy, I think you want antiviral supplements. Try our Viragone and or our ViraClear. I don't think I have a ViraClear here. Try that. Tasha, any supplements for glutamate sensitivity? Yes, anger management. Anger management is designed to reduce glutamate levels in the body and brain. Sue, the multivitamin is great. Awesome. Adriana, the multi-spectrum vitamin is so amazing because my son doesn't eat much. This is amazing with the hearts. I'm so glad you guys like this stuff. I really try to make stuff well for you. Kelly, super serotonin is awesome. Amanda, safe for a child with COMT, CBS to be on a Skowron solution? Yes, but I would be careful with the attention on the double. That's step 4. Just be cautious. It might make some behaviors. Taryn, are the supplements safe for peanut allergies? Yes, there's nothing with peanuts in any of them. We do have a supplement called Biocillin that has some black walnut. I don't know if there's that kind of black walnut issues, but specifically peanut, no. Brianna, my son hates the taste of fish oil. Yeah, taste of fish. Are there any other creams you could try? Do we have a CoQ10 supplement? So we do have a CoQ10 supplement. It's called Mitochondria CoQ10. I don't think there's an omega cream, but there are vegan omegas. So you can just Google on Amazon vegan omegas. No, yes, you can do that. We have a vegan omega gummy, or no, we used to, we don't anymore. Yeah, we don't anymore. So go online and search vegan gummy or vegan omega, sorry. Natasha, what are your thoughts on the ACC protocol? The ACC detox protocol is very popular. It's been around a long time. Unfortunately, Andy's no longer with us. I think it's an effective way to detox. What I don't like about it is it makes you wake up your child multiple times a night to continue treatment. And having had a child who didn't sleep, ain't nothing I was going to do to wake that kid up, right? So that's really my concern about it. I think if it was just a daytime protocol, I'd like it more. But I think the concept is good. Let's detox. Let's get this stuff out. Okay. How often do we want to do it is up for question, but it's, that's my pros and cons about it. Benny, Jasmine, how you doing? Hope Charlie's well. Lauren, Is the gut binder capsule one that you can break open and mix in a drink? Yes, any of our capsules you can pull open with your fingers, put in a drink. Brianna, can you use the glutathione and methylfolate creams at the same time? Yeah. All right, Judy, very good info. We'll be looking into it for our kids. Awesome. Maria, hey, Maria. Oh, Maria, we had that sent to you. I will double check. But no, I know that finally went out to you. Bella, good morning. What's a good supplement for boost energy mid-afternoon? Temper Tamer. Okay, morning and afternoon. All right. Thank you. Amen. Thank you. Adriana says you are the best doctor. The supplements work. Thank you. I have more than one supplement for my kid. Can they combine them all? Yep. Let's see. Hyperactivity and cognition, what would help? Adriana, no doubt you're the best. Jamat, there's so many supplements that look the same. Would you prefer power and focus or attention on the double? GABA. Yeah, there is a lot out there. I know. We try to make a lot for different things. I would do this, Janet or Jeanette. Download our free ebooks. Okay. We've got 4 of them. That can kind of help put you on a starting path for what you may want to use. So do that. You can obviously book a telemedicine appointment with me. I think we're booking in May. But start with the ebooks. That might help. Lisa's been on for years. I applaud you for acknowledging the naysayers and those that have been following you for years. You are the best. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. And look, I have no problem with people doubting something that you don't hear a lot. And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had openly and honestly and civilly about what can we do? Where's the science behind it? And obviously in our podcast, not today, but 95% of my podcast, I am showing you hardcore scientific research on natural things for autism. Okay, so we have scientific backing. We have obviously my 20 years and your guys' experience, but it's understandable why people out there wouldn't believe because they haven't seen it, right? I mean, even pediatricians. Pediatricians like, what's this crap? Why are you doing gluten-free? Why are you reading Google? Just listen to me. More drugs. Bam. So, I understand doubt, but I think what is necessary is open-mindedness and beneficial conversation. And I'm leading up to the end point of my story. I was in Tennessee in Knoxville, 2018, 2019. It was before COVID. And I was speaking at a fundraiser for an OT center, an OT speech center. They rented a big hall. They had 100 plus people. So I spoke and so did, gosh, I forgot her name. She's, I believe, the first person on the spectrum who passed the bar and became a lawyer. Or that's her story. She's down in Florida. She's great. And, so I got to meet her and talk to her. And she actually did way better. She did way better speaking than I did. She was awesome. Anyway, after we both spoke, she had a lot of neurodivergent people with her to support her, which was great, right? And they came up to me afterwards and they said, you know what? We didn't really like what you talked about. I was like, okay. Usually it's just my wife who says that. And they, and basically what they were feeling is that they were feeling attacked. And they were like, look, you were talking about all these ways to help autism. Okay. But there's baggage with that, right? And there's some people who want help and there's some people who don't want help. And my message to him and to the neurodivergent population is that there are people out there who want help. Okay. And those people who want help may or may not have an autism diagnosis. And I am here to help people who want to be helped. Okay. If you are out there and you have an autism diagnosis and you don't want any help or don't feel you need any help, that's great. That's fine. But don't crap out on people who are looking for help and getting help and have scientific research behind what could help. So I think it's taking it out of the ego and bringing it to the world. And so I know this is not a medical question we're talking about, but I think it's a very important question on the baggage that diagnoses can have on us and on our psyche. Not just autism, but everything. Hey, I have cancer. Hey, I have autoimmune. Hey, I have bipolar. what does that do to us emotionally? And when people then say, hey, I'm here to help XYZ, how does that then make us feel, right? Personally. But don't take our personal feelings and then transfer them onto somebody else. If somebody else wants help, if one of my patients who's 25 years old in a home and still wearing diapers wants help, I'm going to help. Okay? That's all I've got to say about that. Jessica, have you noticed an increase in yeast with folinic acid? No. Gory, what's your opinion about stem cell therapy? Never seen it work. Heather says thank you. Michelle says thank you. Jeanette, one more thing. What should we expect after using detox? If you're going to start one, start the Detox Dynamite. And really, we're looking for better mental processing. Language can come with that. Better behavior can come with that. But it's if toxins are preventing good brain function, then if we take those toxins out, brain function should improve. What exactly is going to be different for everybody. But start with the Detox Dynamite. I think that's our most powerful. Skylar, should we do Candida parasite cleanse before heavy metal? 1,000,000%, Skylar. Heather, will the pregnenolone cause potential issues? My child has started puberty. It's rare. It's rare too, as long as you've started puberty. Jeremy, what detox should we use? We have a detox bundle, but again, our new product is called Detox Dynamite, which has a combination binder, which is awesome, like zeolite and humic and fulvic acid, silica and other stuff. It's just not on my mind right now. But also alpha lipoic acid in high doses, great, and glutathione. Not sure how to measure the high dose folinic acid. 1/8 of a teaspoon, just buy 1/8 of a teaspoon is 5 milligrams. You can go with that. Natasha, is there a vegan oil? Yes, you can get it online. Daniela, my son's serotonin and dopamine were high in the O test. Genetics causes that. Try the anger management. Lisa and the ER. Roberta, I got my answer. Sheila. Actually, Jeremy, who's been making, has been bringing up some good questions. Just texted, don't stop stimming. And I agree. I agree 100%. I think from what I understand from people that I've talked to is it's a way to release internal feelings. And as long as you're not harming yourself, I think it's fine. I understand how it can be a social issue, but I don't want to repress it at all, making somebody feel better and not hurting themselves. Sheila, my son's been going to preschool for several months. He was really engaged till he came back from the Christmas break. He's totally shutting down. Boy, this sounds like panda's pans, Sheila. I would start some antimicrobials, like our colloidal silver or grapefruit seed extract. TJ, should we do the zeolite before doing the yeast mold bundle? No, get rid of the yeast first. All right, Roz, what's your thought on Ritalin? It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid for focus and attention. Sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires. So it's, I think we can do better. Sean, hey doc, we did notes tests with you and I've seen so many improvements in my 7-year-old after the interventions. I just want to say thanks. Sean, hey, you are welcome. That's why we do this. I'm glad your child's improved. Spread the word. There's too many families around the world who need help. We want to help them. Tiffany, where would you start to heal the gut? Kill the bugs with the yeast mold bundle. Do a stool test if you want. And then you can heal the gut. We got a product called Gut Calm, which is really good to heal the gut. Basically reduce inflammation and heal leaky gut. But that's what I would do. And then you can do probiotics if you want. Sean says, I tell everyone about your site. Thank you, Sean. Natasha, my child has low serotonin and low dopamine. What do you recommend? Folinic acid and the Skowron solution. Rosa, OCD, what helps? Honestly, I think a lot of OCD behaviors are low cortisol. So you can use temper tamer. You could try super serotonin. Sometimes that helps. But I think a lot of it is I see OCD as a manifestation of extreme anxiety. It can also be PANS PANDAS. OCD is a typical symptom of PANS PANDAS. So anti-inflammatories can help that. Jasmine, Jello shots for supplements. Why has no one ever suggested that? Maybe Jasmine, I had some blackouts from when I did Jello shots. Oh, my 20s, weren't those fun? The 90s were such a good time with no phones or photos for proof of anything. Junior, risperidol makes my son a zombie. He just stares. Yeah, I don't like risperidol. He's been on the Skowron solution. We're happy with his alertness, social development, and concentration. He's doing well in mainstream and daycare. He's nonverbal, but his educators say he enjoys writing now. Amazing. We're truly grateful for your products. He sleeps well and no more tantrums at drop-offs. Thank you, doctor. You're welcome, Junior. We all want this stuff to work. And you stopped risperidol completely. Nice. Awesome. Keep it up. Archie's, can we use folinic acid without doing tests? Yep. It's a vitamin. It's a vitamin. Try it. See what works. It works. Use it. Don't work. Don't use it. Okay. But 100%. The research is too insane to not try it. Okay. Monique, help with dyslexia. I want you to go to an eye doctor specialist for dyslexia. Okay. You go to the website covd.org, Charlie Ostrich Victor David.org, and it's a specialized group of eye doctors that work on eye exercises and certain prism glasses for dyslexia. We have a few here around where I live and work. Amazing. For the kids who need it, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ange, what's good for focusing? I would do... Try our attention on the double. Try our super serotonin. Alexandra from Romania, we need to record a podcast. Yeah, we do, Alexandra. And as a side note, Alexandra, Joe from Mandy Mart canceled our June conference. So maybe next year, maybe. I want to go to Europe. Oh, wait, I was invited to a conference next year in Italy. Or is that 2027? I got to get to Europe. Lisa, anyone interested in melatonin? There's many, many, many studies. There are. We had a whole podcast on it. Michelle, will the brown log train help with encoparesis? I don't know. I would talk to your GI about that. That's not kid stuff. What's the best start for a child with autism, one in ADHD? Been doing very high magnesium, probiotics, omegas, nothing, no difference, nothing. So what you're gonna do, Taryn? Skowron solution. Skowron solution is 4 of our supplements you use together and adjust. Or if you want to just do one thing, our Power and Focus, #1 bestseller. Start there. You're doing a lot of good foundational things. I consider probiotics, multis, minerals like magnesium, zinc, and omegas, iron. They're foundational nutritional things. Great. They're not targeted. Okay, they're not high dose. They're not really going to get you what you want because they're not designed to. You really want something designed to get what you're looking for. So if you want to do one thing, our Power and Focus supplement, #1 bestseller, or the Skowron solution 4-part protocol you can adapt and adjust. And download the free ebooks. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap up because of time. Lauren says, so a couple last questions. Lauren says, how do you know which oat test to order? We have 2 on our site, one from Mosaic and one from Genova. I think Genova one gives you more. You can get either. We ship the Mosaic one internationally, not the Genova one. But here in the States, I lean towards the Genova one. Only because I had a lab report of a 1-year-old come back from Mosaic a couple weeks ago, and the numbers were all off. I'm like, this is not right. I've seen these for decades. This is off. And I called in and I talked to their doc, and their doc's like, yeah, these numbers are off. I'm like, can the company redo the test for free with the patient? And the doc said, I'll ask. And the company said back, the company came back, was like, no, we're not doing, no, you keep what you got. I was like, well, hey, we're going to go with Genova. All right. Jeremy asked, what are your thoughts on stem cells? Let me finish with this question and then wrap up. Over 20 years, I probably had 10 patients get stem cells. Go to Panama, go to Mexico, go to Duke, go to India, and get stem cells. Not one of them has had any lasting improvements. What they've seen is minimal improvements for a few months, and then they go away. I had one patient say it worked for eye contact, and that was it. Whenever I am at autism conferences, and I'm often on physician Q&A panels, the question always comes up. And whenever that question comes up, there may be 4 or 5 of us, docs sitting on the panel in front of the audience, every single one of them says they have never seen any lasting benefits. So that's kind of what we've seen. And I wish, hey, we want things that are going to help. We want things that are going to help people be the best they can be. And we just haven't seen it with that. So, all right, everybody, a little longer on the podcast, but that's okay, because this weekend is our big Autism World Awareness Sale. If you want anything, you want to try something, you want to stock up on something, you want a lab test, everything's 25% off compared to our normal 20% off. Any of those supplements, as you know, Spectrum Awakening offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You don't like it, you change your mind, kid doesn't like the taste, send it back for a refund. Okay? All right, and the coupon, of course, is Autism25. That expires this April 6th, 2025. And if you guys do want one-on-one consults, I've got a telemedicine practice. You can go on our website, Spectrum Awakening, click the appointments tab, book it online. And we order lab work. We give you treatment protocols, answer your questions. We're here to help. So thank you for all you do for your kids, guys. And thank you for spreading the word. We've got to spread the word around. And we will talk to you next week. Maybe we'll have a podcast on methylation. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.